After a full decade since JoJolion began serialization, the 9th and final part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the JoJoLands, is finally here. And holy fuck! I mean, where do I even start? Kicking off the part with the longest chapter in all of JoJo's, which only compounds the fact that this is quite possibly the densest, most jam-packed first chapter of any first chapter in any single part before this one. I mean, other parts don't even come close. You've got Phantom Blood just barely getting to Danny, JoJolion waiting a full 4 chapters to reveal Josuke's stand even once. Hell, the opening chapter of Steel Ball Run doesn't even show Johnny a single time. But the JoJoLands? Araki straight up just said, fuck it, we ball, and wrote the equivalent of a full-length anime episode in a single chapter. It is absolutely ridiculous how much information we got all in one chapter, from an introduction to 5 different main characters and 3 different stand abilities, to what's shaping up to be the overarching theme or plot point for the JoJoLands mechanisms, along with a cut and dry, crystal clear directive for the next maybe 5 or 6 whole chapters. That being a full-on, first of its kind heist. With all of these loose ends just begun, there's a lot to be said on Part 9, where it's at right now, and where it's likely to go from here. And, to be honest, a lot of people are just having trouble understanding some things. I did too. I mean, with all due respect, Mr. Araki, what were you smoking when you wrote this shit? So I thought, as a service to the people, I would take a few minutes today to really just tie those loose ends together with a short and simple explanation on the chapter as a whole and some of the most burning questions you all have been asking. So, without further ado, please, ladies and JoJo tards, enjoy the show. So, right off the bat, Part 9 starts off strong with sexual assault. Luckily, Jodio, our main protagonist and the newest JoJo to the series, is right there to save Dragona, his brother, from the police. Which leads us into the earliest ever main JoJo stand reveal at only 20 pages into the whole part. That being said, it was certainly not the most helpful reveal in the world. Not only does his ability only show once throughout the whole chapter for only a few pages, but the exact specifications of his ability are left completely and totally up in the air for the rest of the chapter as well. They do explain Paco's stand, and Dragona's is pretty self-explanatory, but November Rain isn't even brought up until the very end when all that's mentioned about it is its name. So, let's try to piece together what we have so far, and see what we can come up with. First of all, from what we've seen so far, November Rain can generate liquid particles under it that weigh quite a bit. In other words, it can make heavy rain. This can be seen being used against the 2 police officers in the first scene, where both of them suddenly fall flat to the ground after droplets of what can only be assumed to be rain drip onto their bodies. But, and what has to be noted, the rain itself doesn't do very much damage. It can weigh on them, even dent their bodies, but once the rain stops, we can see the officers completely intact without any holes or dents in their bodies. In fact, unless Jodio is holding back, which would be weird considering his immediate action afterward to beat the ever-loving shit out of the cop while he's down, the rain droplets don't even have enough speed or power to penetrate skin. So naturally, one might ask, is that all? I mean, come on! You can't be saying we waited a decade for the main JoJo stand to be able to manipulate rain! Weather Report could do that. Catch the Rainbow did it too. Hell, the fucking United States of America can make a rain on Vietnam any day of the week. I mean, what the fuck kind of bitch-ass ability even is this? And if that wasn't enough, from the looks of it, November Rain can't even stand rush people, unlike every other JoJo before him. Even fucking Jonathan could stand rush people. The guy didn't have a stand! What the fuck, Araki? So, as you can probably guess, this must be just a tiny glimpse of Jodio's true powers. It is more than likely that this heavy rain ability he has is just one of the many capabilities of his November Rain. Capabilities that we're sure to start seeing once Jodio gets into a fight with a stand user actually worth fighting, which can come as early as next chapter's heist. But for now, it'll be fun to speculate what they could be. And I think there's 2 main possibilities: weather manipulation or water manipulation. In the case of weather manipulation, November Rain would share a lot of parallels with Weather Report, where both would be able to control the weather locally with immense precision. November Rain may be more so in a very limited area. But it might be more likely that November Rain can manipulate water, which will make the most sense as an abstract, versatile main JoJo ability. It would open the doors for a lot of Araki tomfoolery, because water is basically everywhere. I mean, you watching right now, you are 60% water. Constantly all around us are water vapor particles just flying around everywhere. Maybe November rain didn't just spontaneously generate heavy water droplets, but instead cooled the water vapor around it and made it a lot heavier. So from the looks of it, if we're going down this route, November rain can control within a short radius of itself the temperature and density of water, which, from this new lens, sounds OP as all hell. Personally, this is the route I'm feeling the most for, especially if it can manipulate rain into a more humanoid form that can be used for stand rushes, kind of like how JoJolion used Stone Free to manipulate string into a single humanoid form, because let's be real, if there ain't no stand rushes, this shit ain't JoJo's. But that also leads me into one final, less likely possibility for November rain. Consider the following. The only time we ever started out with a non-humanoid stand in JoJo's was in Steel Ball Run, when Johnny was granted Tusk. But eventually, after act, he achieved Tusk Act 4, which did, indeed, have a humanoid form and a kick-ass stand rush. As much of a mouthful November Rain Act 1 is, if Araki went down the axe route, it would make a lot of sense why its current ability is so dog water, and why it hasn't even taken a humanoid form yet. A base ability like this lends itself to being the first act of something greater, something we're yet to see, but something that'll surely be intriguing to see the development of as the part goes on. It would tie in perfectly with our current understanding of mechanisms, building up and progressing steadily to the top, like acts of a stand. And all of this learning could even be supported by the mysterious character in the villa, potentially a previous character who would know quite a bit about this sort of thing. But let's back it up a little, and talk a little about the next big question surrounding the first chapter. What the fuck is a mechanism? After November Rain's reveal, the chapter introduces Jodio and his immediate family, Dragona, his brother, and Barbara Ann, his mom. Barbara Ann is the daughter of Jodio Joestar, and sisters with Holly, the mother of Yoshikage Kira, and later Josuke from last part. Barbara Ann isn't a stand user. She lives a regular life working at an airport store in Hawaii after moving from Atlantic City, where Joseph worked and must have raised her. She's protected by her two children, who work in the shadows as criminals, disregarding all legality in favor of jobs like dealing drugs, doing jobs for the cartel, and soon, grand larceny. Dragona, as you might not have expected, is a male, as described by Jodio. He loves girls' fashion, and it seems like he's also a fan of cross-dressing. His stand is smooth operators, which can reshape and rearrange anything he touches, like license plates, IDs, and even human faces. And then there's Jodio. Short-tempered, but otherwise cool as a goddamned cucumber. And then he gets into mechanisms. Oh boy. So, to give you the cliff notes, Jodio describes mechanisms, in a broad sense, as the constant ways that things happen. It's described as a sort of give-and-take system, where what you put in comes back out. For example, Jodio describes drug muling as a mechanism, where he gave work to earn respect, trust, and money. Earn trust, and through the mechanism of trust, you're granted safety. Throughout the part, we'll see a mechanism of wealth that will accumulate by putting work into getting that wealth, by stealing or by whatever other means. So really, mechanisms are one of those things where they sound all deep and complicated, when in reality, they're things you kinda know already, just explained in a deep and complex way. Though, considering the talk about mechanisms right off the bat, it's pretty safe to assume that this concept is going to play a key role throughout the part, in whatever form that may be. My theory is that this is going to play into some sort of evolution arc we're going to see from Jodio as he works to advance not only in a criminal world to become a millionaire, but also subconsciously as he works on his ability and gains new abilities in the form of axe, or in some other form. But with all that learning and growing ahead of him, he might need a mentor to guide him through it. Which leads us into our final topic for the day. The man in the villa. After all that talk about mechanisms, the chapter gives us our last two introductions, Paco and Meryl May Qi. Paco works with Dragona and Jodio under Meryl, committing various criminal acts together in mutual self-interest. He's 19, but he's still a high schooler, and he also might be a rock human? We'll see soon enough. He gets bossed around by Dragona, but he still answers to Meryl, the criminal mastermind of the whole group, who also happens to be their school principal, who also operates a full-on fashion boutique as a side hustle, which is also a money laundering front for her criminal income. Truly is a shame the hustles blue-collar workers have to pull off to make a living wage nowadays. But after that, we finally get to the beginning of a story arc with Meryl giving the gang an insane job to pull off. A 24-karat diamond brought from Japan to a luxurious villa on a different island, with a going price of $6 million. So here's the $6 million question. Who is in this villa? Feels absolutely silly to have them fly in from Japan only for them to not have been in JoJolion having taken place in Japan, right? Well, let's think about that for a second. For what reason would, say, Josuke have for not only owning a villa in Hawaii but also hauling a $6 million diamond across state lines all willy-nilly like that? And if a character from last part was coming to Hawaii to investigate Jodio, why would they be all the way out on a completely different island than him to do so? And why has it already been 3 days since they got here and they still haven't met with Jodio? You guys have not even the slightest clue how much I would love to see Josuke or Yasuo return to the JoJo lands in the very first arc. But I just find it improbable. Not only is it incredibly predictable on Araki's part, but it's also completely and totally beyond reason why they'd be visiting with a $6 million diamond as though they carry that shit around with them everywhere they go like it's an iPhone or something. Especially considering the team's immediate willingness to steal from them, along with the whole rich people stereotype of generally being a complete and total piece of shit. I get the feeling that this character is more than just a returning character from last part. Actually, I have a theory of my own that, surprisingly, I haven't seen anywhere else before. Consider this. This rich guy, whoever he is most likely an asswipe. And, of course, they're rich. Now, doesn't that ring a bell to somebody we've seen before? Jodio's father is left up in the air. Why is that? I mean, why is this kid named Jodio? A combination of JoJo and Dio. Considering Diego's popularity back in SBR, I wouldn't be surprised if he got around with women quite frequently. And hey, what do you know it? Diego was, indeed, rich. He married a wealthy 83-year-old woman before she died, and he inherited the money. That money couldn't have just disappeared. No, surely Diego had at least one child to hand off his inheritance to. And thus, the Brando bloodline continued, down to whoever this man is in the villa. He's rich, he's a snob, and he might just be Jodio's father. Otherwise, I mean, why else would Araki force the word Dio into Jodio's name like that? It sounds fucking stupid. That's my theory, at least. More likely than not, though, it's just some stand user that has no connection to any other part before this that just serves to advance the storyline. Only time will tell. When the time does come for Chapter 2, you'll bet that I'll be here to overanalyze every detail that pops up on the way. So, if you'd like to see more of this for JOJOLands Chapters in the future, make sure to rain on that subscribe button, rearrange that notification bell to turn it ringing, and, of course, smash that like button by contorting your muscles towards it. Feel free to comment any questions you have below as well. I'll try answering them either in replies or even in a future video. Thank you all so much for watching, and an even bigger thank you to my members, Dudestude, Axes, Sibaldus, Evazion, Kosh, Mr. Grass, and Pakista, for making these videos just that bit more possible. And I'll see you all next time. Sayonara.